Buckle up. Hey folks, Captain Mike Hogan here from Salty Cape. Today we're going to talk about the 6 things you need to know about the Fortier 30. So the first thing you need to know about the Fortier 30 is that it's impossibly big for a 30-foot boat. So I'm standing back here in the cockpit. I pasted off just a few minutes ago, so it's about a 10 by 10 cockpit. That's 100 feet of cockpit space. Now that's basically the size cockpit you'd find on a 34 or 35 foot more popular express style boat with outboards. Now stepping forward to the bridge deck, you'll notice an oversized L-shaped seat. So as far as fishing goes, I can accommodate 3 or 4 buddies out of the weather. Now you'll notice a lot of boats in this size range, you can see a couple guys up front and you'll have a couple guys aft. But what's good about this is everybody can ride together and in the weather. Now I also have 2 little kids, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and so what's great about this is if we're out with the family and if one of my kids has a friend or another parent with them, everybody can fit right in this L-shaped seat. And so the program is when I come into the marina, my wife and all the kiddos sit on the L-shaped seat, I dock it, I have plenty of space to maneuver. A date night, if we go with a couple other couples to the vineyard, this boat is slipped in Falmouth, so it's an easy run to Oak Bluffs or Edgartown. A couple of couples can sit with us and ride, and again, we're all out of the weather. So as far as fishing and cruising space, this boat is a beast. Now down below, it has an ample cabin, some V-bunks, and a little couch settee. Now where Fortier really shines is for outdoor space and cruising space. Now the cabin, while very ample, I wouldn't argue is the biggest cabin on the market. Now one of the downsides to having inboards is you do lose the aft cabin. But for us, we're outside, we're swimming at the beach, we're fishing, and we tend to spend very little time in the cabin other than to use the head or just to get out of the weather for a few minutes or access the icebox. Now speaking of outdoor space, the Fortier 30 is a fishing machine. For starters, the cockpit is huge and can accommodate a number of anglers. My Fortier 30 has swivel rod holders, a built-in tuna door, and throttles with steering set into the starboard gunnel. Now this boat is the most stable express style boat in its size class I've ever fished on. Now this makes it a great platform for all kinds of fishing, but especially jigging and trolling. Inshore, this boat sits effortlessly in front of ribs. Offshore, its wide beam and diesel engines ensure a perfect trolling spread. With an auxiliary fuel tank installed down the center line, this boat has the range to go to the canyons without even a moment's consideration for fuel offshore. Simply put, this boat fishes hard. Now the new common rail diesels are amazing. As far as diesels go, they're very quiet, and what I like particularly about the common rails is the lack of smoke. That is one major downside to diesel engine boats, is they do tend to smoke a lot. But these common rail diesels, maybe you'll smell a little tough, a diesel smell when you first fire it up, but all in all, it's it's a major upgrade. And the Fortiers, they all come with the same Volvo common rail diesels. So we're in a tight marina here, and with just the working of the throttles, this boat with twins is going to maneuver itself right out of the slip without a whole lot of fanfare. Certainly no need for a bow thruster. As you can see from the bird's eye footage there, all I need to do is just work the controls, and I can put this boat pretty much anywhere I want to go, assuming I have space for it. But it's a pleasure to run a boat with inboard diesels after you've been on a boat with large outboards. And it's just a heavier feel, you have more control, more command. It's basically a boat for boaters. Knots, about 28 miles per hour at the upper end. It tops out at around 30, 31 knots. But it's a very smooth riding boat. but it is light and has a relatively flat bottom. So the trade-off there is if you try to run it too fast in a chop, it'll pound just a little bit. But what I like about this boat is if you trim the bow down just a little bit, you back it down to 20 knots, you can go through pretty much any chop that you'll find in that typical windy southwest afternoon in Vineyard Sound, Nantucket Sound, or Buzzards Bay. And I'll take my my family to Cutty Hawk, and I don't worry about the afternoon winds on the way home. I just back the speed off. It goes very well at slow speed. Trim it down a little bit. The boat will literally go through anything. On a nice calm day, if I trim the bow up, I can get 24.5 knots. You can push it a little further. And this boat at 24 knots has all the range you need to do the canyons without even looking at the gas gauge once. But this boat has the extra fuel option. It's got an auxiliary 47-gallon tank. So if you did want to go that extra distance, you've got plenty of fuel. But as far as ride goes, you just feel the weight of these diesel engines under your feet. It's very stable. It has a very powerful feel in the water. And again, as I mentioned at the marina, the diesel's very torquey. They're very fuel efficient. This boat gets close to 1.75 miles per gallon at cruise. So that's hard to beat with outboards. In my opinion, the Fortier 30 is the perfect 30-foot boat. Does a lot of stuff. It fishes hardcore, can handle a family with ease. It's fast enough. It cruises at 24.5 knots, 28 miles per hour. And it's got great range, handles the sea very well, super maneuverable. Those are all the pros. The cons, pretty much the biggest ones I see, if you're an outboard fan, you are going to have some limitations. One, with the outboards, you lose the aft cabin, which is particularly popular with folks with kids. Though my family, we don't spend much time inside the cabin. Number two, with inboards, you're less inclined to beach the boat. So if that's what you're into, beaching the boat for a beach party, that sort of thing, the inboard sort of limits you there. Though there are some beaches, for example, the beach off Cape Cod, we beach the Grey Goose there all the time. And then lastly, the one downside to a boat like the Fortier 30 is the inboard diesels, while they'll last longer and they're perhaps more durable, they do require a little more maintenance than a traditional plug-and-play, say a 350 Verado or a 350 Yamaha. So they're a tad bit more maintenance, and maybe their annual maintenance cost is a little higher year to year. But to me, the added space, we have a complete transom, a boat that's very stable in the sea, ultra maneuverable, cheap to run, great gas mileage. The speed sort of outweighs the plug-and-play features of the outboards. But like I said, every boat has its trade-offs, but this boat, in my opinion, is the one boat that, in that 30-foot range, that can do the family thing and the fishing thing just as well.